We have a major developing situation that signals the shadow war in the Middle East has just gone loud because a massive explosion of unknown origin has completely annihilated a critical infrastructure facility in northwest Iran, marking the latest in a terrifying string of mysterious blasts that the regime is desperately trying to cover up. At this very moment, footage is circulating showing a cold storage facility engulfed in dark black smoke and raging flames, a level of destruction that suggests a high-yield explosive was used rather than a simple industrial accident. And this is not an isolated incident, but rather the 12th so-called accident to strike Iran in just the last week alone, which statistically makes the government's official explanation that these are all just coincidental gas leaks completely impossible to believe. The Iranian government is claiming that across 8 different cities, including the capital of Tehran and the strategic port of Bandar Abbas, massive gas leaks are spontaneously erupting in buildings that just so happen to house high-ranking IRGC officers and military infrastructure. But if you look at the footage from Bandar Abbas specifically, where an apartment building was blown apart, you can see that the structural failure looks exactly like a targeted kinetic strike designed to take out specific floors where VIPs reside. Witnesses on the ground reported that the blast was so powerful it threw parked cars 90 feet through the air, which is consistent with high-grade military ordnance, not a leaky stove. And this pattern of decapitation strikes suggests that a foreign intelligence agency, whether it be the CIA or the Mossad, has begun a campaign of sabotage to soften up the regime from the inside before a wider conflict kicks off. Not only that, but literally as this facility in the northwest was burning to the ground, the Iranian military hit the panic button and scrambled their naval forces in a massive show of force, deploying a swarm of around 40 fast attack vessels into the Strait of Hormuz, which is the most critical oil choke point in the world. These fast attack craft were spotted about 14 nautical miles off the coast near the Siri Island base, and they were observed operating under high-altitude drone contrails, which indicates that the IRGC is expecting an attack from the sea and is rushing to establish a defensive perimeter, or perhaps they are preparing to harass commercial shipping as a form of retaliation for the attacks happening on their soil. This naval scramble is a classic escalation tactic known as swarm warfare, where they use dozens of small agile boats armed with missiles and rockets to overwhelm the radar and defense systems of larger U.S. Navy destroyers. And the fact that they are doing this right now tells us that the regime knows these explosions are not accidents. They know they are under attack, and they are lashing out in the only domain where they feel they have an advantage. Moreover, this chaos is unfolding against the backdrop of a total diplomatic collapse, because just hours ago, negotiations between the United States and Iran and Oman ended without any breakthrough. And in fact, the situation has arguably gotten worse. We know that the U.S. delegation included Admiral Bradley Cooper, the head of CENTCOM, which was a clear signal to Tehran that the military option is on the table. Yet, according to the Wall Street Journal, the Iranian delegation refused to back down on their nuclear enrichment program and refused to discuss curbing their ballistic missile arsenal, which effectively kills the diplomatic track. When diplomacy dies, kinetic action usually follows, and it appears that the United States or its allies have decided that if Iran will not negotiate away its nuclear program, then those facilities and the men who run them will be dismantled by force and by sabotage. We are seeing a coordinated multi-domain pressure campaign where their economy is being squeezed, their infrastructure is mysteriously blowing up, their military leaders are being targeted in their homes, and their navy is being drawn out into the open waters where they are vulnerable. The presence of the fast attack boats in the Strait of Hormuz is particularly dangerous because with tensions, this one miscalculation, one nervous captain, or one accidental collision could spark the full-scale war that everyone has been fearing. We also have reports of unexplainable explosions in western Tehran and near the Sardar Jungle District, which resulted in major fires. And again, the fingerprints of black operations are all over these incidents because they are precise, they are deniable, and they cause maximum psychological terror for the regime leadership, who now have to wonder if they are safe in their own beds. It is critical to understand that this is exactly how the prelude to a major invasion or an air campaign looks. You blind the enemy, you disrupt their communications, you take out their command and control nodes, and you force them to panic and reveal their defensive positions, which is exactly what Iran is doing by flushing their navy out into the strait. The Iranian foreign minister has reportedly left Oman and is heading back to Tehran empty-handed, which means the political cover for de-escalation is gone, and we are now entering a phase where the commanders on the ground and the operatives in the shadows are calling the shots. This is a code red moment for the region and the world, because we are watching a sovereign nation being systematically dismantled from the inside out by mysterious explosions, while their military aggressively postures against the U.S. Navy in a narrow body of water packed with oil tankers. I want you to look at the footage of these fires again and ask yourself if that looks like a gas leak to you, or if that looks like a precision munition designed to send a message. I am going to continue monitoring the naval movements in the Strait of Hormuz hour by hour, because if those fast attack boats make a move on a U.S. ship or a commercial tanker, the retaliation from the U.S. assets we have surged into the region, including the forces at Diego Garcia, will be swift and it will be overwhelming. I want to know what you guys think is really happening here. Who is responsible for these explosions? Is it the CIA? Is it the Israelis? Or is it an internal resistance movement? And do you think the naval scramble in the Gulf is going to lead to a shooting war this weekend? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And please make sure to like and subscribe, as it costs you nothing and helps the channel immensely. Hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss the next update.